What's going on YouTube? Ryan Alex back from Othmann again. It's December in Canada, which means we are preparing for the one of the biggest international tournaments every year in the World Juniors, and we are here again to talk about them. Today we're going to discuss the roster for Team Canada. If you want to see us discuss Team USA, that one is already up on the channel. You can check that out too if you like. Last year, as in the tournament held in the summertime, the makeup tournament for last December that was canceled, Team Canada defeated the Finns in overtime. Kent Johnson now with the Columbus Blue Jackets with the OT winner, and Mason McTavish with that magic puck pulled off the goal line to save the game for Canada. World Junior Championships will start on Boxing Day, December 26th, and Canada will be in Group A along with Austria, almost said Australia, Czechia, Germany, and Sweden. So they'll have a good shot at a top spot in that group.
Of course, we're Dopamon, two best friends. We love talking hockey, and we love covering the World Juniors. For today, we're just going to be talking about the invitational roster, the camp roster that will be going in. How many names? 31 names that have been
29, maybe? I think 29 for Canada.
Yeah, we do not know how to do simple math.
No. We'll go right into here. This is the full junior team selection camp roster. Starting with goaltenders, we have Tyler Brennan, Benjamin Gaudreau, Thomas Milic, William Rousseau. We had a couple WHL guys, an OHL, and a Q. We also have on defense Nolan, Allan, Ethan Del Mastro, Tyson Hinds, Kevin Korchinski, Carson Lambos, Jack Mathieu, Evan Nause, Ethan Samson, and Olen Zellweger. Zellweger and Del Mastro and Lambos are returning. I don't think Lambos is on last year's team. I guess you don't know. So don't quote me on that. But Del Mastro and Zellweger were. So those will be two of the top guys going into here. Defensemen or forwards.
And for forwards, we have Caedan Bankier, Owen Beck, Connor Bedard, Zachary Bolduc, Colton Dach, Zach Dean, Jordan Dumais, Adam Fantilli, Nathan Gosher, Ryan Green, Riley Kidney, Zach Ostapchuk, Brennan Othmann, Joshua Waugh, Reed Schaefer, and Logan Stankoven.
Now, we were talking about this beforehand. So this roster does not include a guy like Shane Wright. I don't think he needs to be a part of this selection camp in order to make this team. I think we're not 100% confident on that, but our quick Google and what the latest sources on that are saying, I don't think he needs to be part of this team. I think he can just be released by Seattle and will be on this team. That goes the same way for guys like Brant Clark or
Dylan Gunther.
Even Mason McTavish is eligible still for this team. He's probably the least likely to be on this team. I think Anaheim really wants him there. But we are going to go through this roster with the assumption that no one is getting released. Wyatt Johnson is another big name that could potentially get released. But Dallas is really, really good, so I doubt it. So we are going to go through this with the assumption that no one will be released. So Shane Wright will not be on this roster. And if he is, it essentially just kind of bumps everyone down one at the center ice position. So, take this roster projection with a grain of salt here. If we find out in a week that we have Shane Wright, he'll obviously be on this team. But to start here, there are no goalies in the NHL at the very least that could be on this team. So we have here Benjamin Gaudreau, Tyler Brennan, and Thomas Milic, which cuts William Rousseau from this team. I have Tyler Brennan as my starting goalie. Sorry, I have Benjamin Gaudreau as my starting goalie. I say that, I missed that up because I'm not confident. I'm really not confident in saying either one's going to be the starter. Benjamin Gaudreau is a third-round pick of the San Jose Sharks. Sarnius Thing guy. Doesn't have the greatest numbers. You look at his numbers, the Sarnius Thing aren't great in general, and you don't see high save percentages in the OHL to begin with, but he's sitting at an 868 and a 362 goals against average, and is 9-8-3. So, might be a little bit of maneuvering here in goaltending position. Tyler Brennan plays in Prince George. He's the other guy that I think has the best shot at the starter role. He's not doing any better in the WHL. He's a 4th-round pick in New Jersey. In the WHL is an 884. You generally see save percentage is a little higher in the WHL than you would the O. He's 5-6 in 13 games in Prince George. And the guy with the best numbers I have here is Thomas Milic, which I don't think is going to be the starter by any means, but you never know, he could. In Seattle Thunderbirds, he's undrafted. He's 19 years old, so he's gone through the draft once before. He has a 9.19 and is 11-2-1 with the Seattle Thunderbirds. Now, that's a better team, so maybe that impacts it quite a bit. He played 25 games in the playoffs for Seattle Thunderbirds last season, was 14-11 with a 925 save percentage. So I think the goalie situation is the biggest question mark for this team. I think all 3 of these guys, and even William Rousseau, we cut him, but he could make this team easily. So
Yeah, we talked about this with the USA team where just like them, Team Canada is expected to compete for a medal, and probably for Team Canada, not just a medal, the medal, gold medal.
Yeah.
They're going to play probably 2, maybe even 3 goalies and just be like, figure out which one is the best, which one's going to be hot, because they're going to need him for a gold medal game. And I could see, any 3 of the ones they do bring getting their, a shot in a game. So who knows who the real starter, supposedly will be until that gold medal game.
Yeah, I think Ben Gaudreau has the highest potential from an NHL standpoint. So that's why I have him. He is the biggest pedigree. That's why I have him number 1. But Tyler Brennan or Milic, either one could be the starter come say New Year's Eve. But anyway,
that leads us to D, where our first pair, Ethan Del Mastro and Olen Zellweger. And I think that this is an obvious top pair. I love these 2. Ethan Del Mastro, 4th-round pick in 2021 by the Chicago Blackhawks. I have had the opportunity to watch Del Mastro play live, and his size doesn't show on camera. They say the camera adds 10-15 pounds. It's a lie. When you see him, his size, it looks like a bear is on the ice all of a sudden, and you can't not notice him because he's so big and massive. And I've watching him play, and it's not just his size that stands out after that, because then you're forced to watch him and then you say, wow, he's an incredible defenseman. He's mature, probably the best defensive defenseman in the OHL right now. He's captaining his Mississauga Steelheads team. I really like him. I think that he's a great defensive partner for Olen Zellweger, who we have on the right there, 5'10", a little bit smaller, 2nd-round pick, 34th overall to the Anaheim Ducks in 2021, and he's a guy who can absolutely rip it offensively. He loves to he jumps into the rush. All of a sudden, you have like a 4-on-2, 4-on-1, and this guy's leading it. And it starts in the D zone. He is able to identify the puck and just go with it. And he can pass, he can shoot. He's got all of it. I think that this D pairing is going to be so dangerous, not just offensively, but defensively on transition. They're going to be quick. Del Mastro shuts it down. Zellweger goes. All of a sudden, what you thought was an offensive play is now going the other way. And it starts with the Canadian D's top pair.
I agree 100%. I think top pair easily, and yeah, this Olen Zellweger I think is probably going to lead this team in scoring for defensemen. I have a good feeling about that, but I don't think that's a stretch to say. Second pair, we have Carson Lambos and Nolan Allan. We both really like this pair. Carson Lambos of the Winnipeg Ice, 6'1" defenseman, is a draft pick of the Minnesota Wild, 26th overall. Currently the captain of the Winnipeg Ice, 21 points in 23 games over there. And Nolan Allan of the Seattle Thunderbirds, Chicago Blackhawks draft pick, 32nd overall in 2021. 6'2", another left-hand shot, so a lot of left-hand shot heavy on this team, but is very, very good. Obviously, he's playing in Seattle, but was originally Prince Albert Raider, was a captain over there, had 11 points in 16 games before moving over. It was 3 points in 6 games thus far in the WHL. I think just a solid second pair. Like I don't know what else to call it. Just solid. Both of these guys, good two-way, good skaters. Yeah, and if they need to, can move up or down this lineup.
And a lot of maturity in this
Yeah,
top four, I feel like, because I'm going to bring up our third pairing, Kevin Korchinski and Jack Mathieu. Kevin Korchinski, he does play with the Seattle Thunderbirds as well. I can't recall if he's played with Nolan Allan, if that's a thing, like potential chemistry, but when you reach this level of competition, you just got to put the best out there. And Lambos Allan, that's going to be a great to fill out their top four. On to Korchinski and Mathieu. Kevin Korchinski, 7th overall in 2022 to the Chicago Blackhawks. A lot of people thought this is a little bit of a reach. I'm happy with it because that was the Ottawa Senators' first round pick. They got Alex DeBrincat. It was a big trade, and I thought that DeBrincat was a great return for it. Korchinski is definitely one of the better offensive defensemen, probably one of the best in the entire tournament. But there's still a part of his game I feel like is missing, and that kind of keeps him away from like the Olen Zellweger territory versus this third pair territory. It is a 19-year-olds kind of tournament, and as a defenseman, I think that is emphasized more so. And there's just a little bit more growing for Korchinski to kind of take that step up. But as a third pair guy, the dynamic offense that this guy brings, you have for Team Canada, 3 pairs here of just incredible D, and the third one can produce at an offensive, level that is just incredible. And on the right, Jack Mathieu, kind of like our first pair. He is a 6'5". He's a big D, drafted 4th round by the Nashville Predators. He knows how to use his reach. He knows how to use his size. He's defensively, he's a shutdown guy, and pair him with Korchinski, you know how that works. Defensive guy, offensive guy. I think that this third pair could be incredibly dangerous. One of the most dangerous in the entire tournament, and Mathieu himself, he can put the puck up in the net as well. It's not like it's just a one-man show for Korchinski. This decor is dangerous.
and even these extra guys that we have, I really like them as well. We have selected Tyson Hinds and Evan Nause, both products of the QMJHL here. Hinds of the Sherbrooke Phoenix, Anaheim Ducks prospect, 76th overall. They picked him in 2021. In Sherbrooke is 27 points in 26 games. So there's, obviously a little bit more scoring in the Q than other Canadian hockey leagues, but still killing it back there. And Nause of the Quebec Ramparts, 6'2", a second round pick, 56th overall of the Florida Panthers, 15 points in 22 games over there. Either one of these guys could be in the top 6, and I wouldn't even blink. I think Hinds is probably the guy who gets the shot as a 7th D right away. I think he could bump Mathieu out of here in some games if they want a little bit more mobile guy. But I think this is I think this is one of the better defense that Canada's had in the last few tournaments. Just top to bottom. It doesn't have that big, it doesn't have a guy like Owen Power necessarily, who's that first overall pick, number 1 defenseman, power play guy, 26 minutes a night kind of player. It just has a very good top to bottom defense core. And I think it's
call it Team D.
Yeah.
There's no individual who's just gonna steal the show, but together they'll work out. You can tell this is a solid team they have on D, which leads to our forward group. And I think our first line is the most obvious. They have the most experience, not just overall, but at this tournament last year. On the left, we have Brennan Othmann. Down the middle, Logan Stankoven. And on the right, Connor Bedard. Brennan Othmann, last year at this tournament, 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points, 6 games. I didn't realize until recently, he got traded in the OHL. He was captaining his Firebirds team, got traded to the Peterborough Petes. Wow, I did not know that. He was a first round pick, 16th overall in 2021 by the New York Rangers. He's a guy who can really put the puck in the net. He got 50 goals in 66 games last season in the OHL. It is hard to score 50 goals in the OHL. I know save percentages are low, goals are heavy, but 50 goals is a lot. And down the middle, Logan Stankoven. I know you absolutely love him, right?
He's great.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Little bit of a smaller guy, 5'8", but don't let the size fool you because there's just so much power jam-packed into this guy. 47th overall draft pick in 2021 to the Dallas Stars. Himself, he is absolutely lighting it up in the WHL right now. He is over 2 points per game with the Kamloops Blazers. He's their captain. He is killing it. It is amazing watching him play. 42 points in 19 games is crazy. And Connor Bedard, who is the consolidated, absolute bona fide #1 overall pick for the 2023 NHL entry draft, it is undisputed. He is just too good.
Yeah.
And he's, for a guy who is a 2023 draft pick, last year he did pretty well at this tournament too. 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 games. And we'll see who drafts him. He's a little bit of a smaller guy, but I think that all 3 of these guys bring the same kind of offensive intensity. They love to drive the puck. Othmann, he's more of a perimeter winger guy. Stankoven and Bedard, they might be more middle of the ice kind of guys, but they all just absolutely love to drive offense towards the net. They're high intensity. They love to move their legs, especially. And I see this being a highlight reel kind of line.
Yeah, this is a scary line with a lot of skill. Obviously, Connor Bedard is Connor Bedard. He's the guy. He's the face of this team, 100%. And we put Stankoven down the middle. If you want to argue that Bedard is down the middle and Stankoven's on the right, sure. I mean, whatever. Either way, it's going to be sick. And Logan Stankoven, didn't mention, is a Dallas Stars prospect. We gotta talk about Dallas more on this channel because if the Dallas Stars end up rocking a line of Rupe Hintz, Jason Robertson, and Logan Stankoven in a couple of years, oh my god. Anyway,
they've drafted well in the second round. Stankoven, Robertson, damn, this is
Ottinger at the end of the first. Anyway,
yeah,
we're getting sidetracked. Our second line, I think, maybe not just as good, but I think could be very, very offensive still. We have Adam Fantilli, Owen Beck, and Joshua Waugh. And I think, let me check. Oh, no, never mind. I thought there was a spelling mistake. I was going to blame our graphics department on that one, which is Alex, if you didn't know.
Well, I copy pasted your lines, so
yeah.
You anyway.
Fair enough. Pass blame. That's all right. Adam Fantilli is a top prospect. A lot of people are saying he's the #2 guy for this upcoming year. University of Michigan is absolutely killing it down there as a draft year guy, which does not happen really in the NCAA. 26 points, 11 goals in 16 games. I think he's going to be in the top 3. I think guaranteed in this year's entry draft unless something insane happens. We have Owen Beck as our second line center. Now, like we said at the top, if Shane Wright gets released, I think this spot is Shane Wright's 1,000,000%. I don't think he goes lower than this. I think you have the top 2 centers with Bedard and Wright or Stankoven and Wright. But for now, we'll have Owen Beck, Mississauga Steelheads, Montreal Canadiens draft pick in the 33rd overall spot last season. 30 points in 23 games over there. Just a solid player. Had a really, really good training camp with Montreal. Impressed a lot of people. And Josh Waugh, Roy. He's a right winger. He plays his off wing. He's a left-hand shot. Is also a Montreal Canadiens draft pick. 150th overall in 2021. Puts up so many points. So many points in the QMJHL. Right now he has 42 points in 25 games. Last year, he had 119 in 66, 51 goals and 68 assists. All this guy does is put up points. So this is an easy top 6 for me. I think Adam Fantilli has the potential to do what Connor Bedard did last season as the underager, as a draft eligible guy, be able to provide that second level of offense and kind of really drive this line. And I think Josh Roy, with the kind of secondary scoring he can provide to this top six, is nasty.
And you mentioned, Owen Beck as a second line center. I think that there's a lot of potential for variation in this top six. Adam
Mm-hmm.
Fantilli could absolutely find himself as a center.
Yep.
Owen Beck in a checking role on the wing. I do like Owen Beck in the corners. He is very gritty. He's willing to play that tough kind of game. He's a little bit smaller, but when you're willing to play like that and you have the strength, it works, and he can create, puck opportunities for Fantilli and Roy to put the puck in the net. So I don't see a problem with having a guy like Owen Beck, who might not be considered the most dynamic second line center. I definitely see him playing a big role on the second line here. Brings to our third line.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this line. We have Riley Kidney on the left wing, Zach Ostapchuk down the middle, and on the right wing, Nathan Gaucher. And I want to start with Zach Ostapchuk because I am an Ottawa Senators fan. He played really well at last year's, which was back in August, so it wasn't like a year ago, but it it mattered. He played really well at last year's tournament. 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points in 7 games. It doesn't really show on the scoreboard, but he was all over the puck, uh, both ends of the ice. Lots of great shots, shots on net. I thought that he kind of made a name for himself, and that he's a Senators draft pick, 2021, 39th overall. And I think that people thought it was a little bit of a stretch to pick him in the second round, and that they kind of lost the 2021 draft. They did Tyler Boucher, and it seemed like kind of a big stretch draft. But with that tournament, I felt like he kind of earned his stripes and earned his name, and vindicated that draft pick. And I think that he can have a really big role on this team. Maybe he slips into a second line kind of top six role. Probably not. Probably just a really good third line guy. On the left wing, Riley Kidney, second round pick by the Montreal Canadiens, 63rd overall. He has an incredible puck handling ability, and just he's the type of playmaker, not just putting the puck in the right place, but making a quick dangle and getting the puck, beating a defender one-on-one. I think he just has a really good ability to do that and kind of set up a guy like Ostapchuk or Nathan Gaucher. Nathan Gaucher, he's another guy who's a hard forechecker. He loves to steal pucks, get himself in the good places in the offensive zone, and he can score a lot too. So I think this line has a lot of forecheck-in, weird play in the corners, pass to the front, score, hard forechecking kind of role. And Nathan Gaucher, himself a first round pick in 2022, 22nd overall to Anaheim. He could very well himself play center. Maybe, he has a kind of breakout kind of tournament. He's big, 6'3". I think that he could really stand out, that this Canada team. And if you notice that the D-core, they're a little bit bigger, but the forwards are a little bit smaller. A guy like Nathan Gaucher, maybe his physicality can really dominate. So we'll see.
And I don't know if you remember, but Nathan Gaucher was one of my favorite players from that draft. I think I had him ranked in my close to my top 10. I think in my top 15. But really love that player, and can't wait to watch him on this line. It looks like a really good potential line here as a third. Number 4, we have Zach Dean, Zach Bolduc, and Jordan Dumais, or Dumas. Zach Dean of the Gatineau Olympique, Vegas Golden Knight draft pick, 30th overall, 2021. 6 foot, plays center down there. 35 points in 26 games for the Q. Zachary Bolduc of the Quebec Ramparts, another QMJHL player, St. Louis Blues draft pick, 17th overall 2 years ago in 2021 draft. 43 points in 24 games for Quebec. And the third Q line, we'll call it, Jordan Dumais, 5'9" right shot, 96th overall pick of the Columbus Blue Jackets. And I had to do a double take when I looked at his stats, because I didn't realize how insane he'd been over there. He has 54 points in 25 games, 19 goals and 35 assists. That is on pace as far as cap friendly elite prospects is concerned, at a 142 point pace, a 50 goal pace, a 92 assist pace this season. He's got some offense in him, and I think this is the perfect line. We'll call it the Q line. I like that. I just made that up. uh, just a solid depth scoring that can do a lot of different things. And I like all three of these guys. I wasn't a huge fan of Zach Bolduc in his draft year. I'm not gonna lie, but he's got a lot of tools, and I think he could be a very good fourth line center for this team, unless they get extra guys, in which case he might find himself on as the extra guy or the on man out. But I like him.
Yeah, and for our 13th forward and extra forward, 13th we have Ryan Green, and the extra there, Colton Dach. Ryan Green, I think he's a guy that can really slip into that fourth line. He's a very skilled guy. He's a puck handler. He likes to beat defenders one-on-one, and you could kind of slip him into that kind of skilled fourth line, I think, and he could score. Maybe he gets a shot on the power play or something. He hasn't put up great numbers in the NCAA. 14 points in 14 games. It is really good, but just for considering some of the other talent on this roster, like Adam Fantilli, who's absolutely lighting it up, it's not as impressive as you'd think. But I think that maybe third, fourth line depth scoring, he's the guy that can really get called on. He was a second round pick by the Chicago Blackhawks, 57th overall in 2022, and our extra there, Colton Dach. Another Chicago Blackhawks draft pick, second round, 67th overall in 2021. He is 6'4". He's not as good as his brother Kirby Dach, but I definitely think he kind of brings a type of physicality that might be lacking on this roster. I mentioned earlier about Nathan Gaucher. He's 6'3". He's big himself. He does bring a level of physicality that I think Colton Dach can bring as well. That the forwards on this roster aren't as big as maybe the DR, and I think that Colton Dach maybe in a game or two, if you need some physicality, you need a guy who can, put his shoulder down and really drive the net, and the front of the net isn't working for the rest of the team. They're getting pushed around a little bit. I think Colton Dach can be a big factor in the bottom six, so I wanted to bring him as our extra forward.
Yeah. Both these guys, Chicago Blackhawks draft picks in back-to-back years there in the second round. Yeah, that's our team. I really like it. Like we said at the top of this, it could be a lot different if a guy like Shane Wright is here, Dylan Guenther, Brandt Clark. It could change the outlook completely of this team if we get one or more of those guys. Just add skill. I think this team, even as it is without those guys, I think has to be a gold medal favorite. I think the biggest question mark is goal. Other than that, I think this team is really strong. What do you think? What do you think about Team Canada?
I love it. I think that, like you said, goaltending, but I have a feeling that this is an opportunity for one of them. Goaltending is weird. One of them is going to put up 930 and 940 kind of numbers in this tournament and just absolutely run away with it, stand on his head, and be the guy who wins a gold medal and, earns that kind of reputation as Canada's, new junior goaltender. Their decor, I love it. I think that top to bottom, there's no star, but there's stardom just throughout, like they're all great. They're all going to work together, however you want to mix it up. Same with the forwards. I think that there's a clear top six, bottom six kind of, potential there. And if they do get those NHL players who are missing from this roster, this, on paper is the best team in the tournament.
Yeah, guys we cut from this team that are on the invitee list: William Rousseau in net. Where is he? Ethan Samson on defense, Caedan Bankier, Reed Schaefer, and there's one other guy. No, there wasn't. Just those two for forwards. Was there any notable omissions for you on this team? I know we did talk about the
Matthew Savoy.
Yes, there you go. Very surprising out of the Winnipeg Ice that he wasn't part of this squad. That team is.
I don't want to like make comparisons out of the WHL. Like I like Zach Ostapchuk, but I'd take Matthew Savoy over him any day. You know.
I maybe they're just looking for that type of player. I know Matthew
Mhm,
Savoy is
mhm,
more that top six guy. Ostapchuk fits better in the bottom six, so maybe they just
mhm.
completely discounted him. He has 29 points in 23 games this season in the WHL. Matthew Savoy, so big big omission there. Another guy. Let's make sure I have him here. Is Denton Matejchuk.
Oh
Was
yeah.
another guy who I was a little surprised to see not invited at least to this team. Was 12th overall last year. I thought Korchinski and Matejchuk were going to be kind of fighting for that last spot on the defense core here. He's the captain of the Moose Jaw Warriors. He has 27 points in 24 games out there. Yeah, I guess another big notable omission, but otherwise, I think a pretty solid team. They must have a specific set of guys in mind already, and they're really just using, because they're only going to cut like 4 guys, so they're really just using this as like the last minute kind of tweaking and stuff. And then I guess they cross their fingers whether they get a guy like Shane Wright. But yeah, that's it. That's it for this video. Let us know what you think in the comment section down below about our rosters, about anyone else we missed. We talked about Savoy and Matejchuk and some of the guys in the NHL that could get released. Let us know if we forgot anybody. We'd love to hear from you down in the comment section down below. Leave a like on this video. Subscribe for more World Junior Hockey content coming soon. Like I said off the top, USA video is already up on the channel, or should be up on the channel first. If not, it's coming soon. As well as the rest of at least the major teams going into this tournament. We'll see about a team like Austria, how much time we have. But yeah, that's it for us for now. Is that it, Alex?
That is it. We're Dopamon, two best friends. We just love to talk hockey. So, stick around, talk hockey with us. Comment down below. Peace.